Okay, we've had a pretty productive day so far, and it's not even 4 o'clock. So here's what I did. The only thing I added a little bit to after I after I tasted it was some more lemon. It was like a little bit garlicky, and I wanted to have a little bit more of a fresher taste. So I squeezed about 3/4 of this second lemon in. That's what the hummus looks like. I've got a little bit of a mess here, but it's not too bad. And if you want to blend it up a little bit more, but that looks pretty good. It's pretty creamy, and you can sort of throw in whatever you want into it or on top of it if you want, more sort of whatever. I still haven't put the mushrooms inside of the sauce, but I'm gonna do that now. So the sauce has been going for, shoot, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half. Um, Top is actually quite hot. So now, when you stir it up, it's really important to move super slow. If you don't move super slow, then I would recommend taking that lid up there and just sort of holding it over the top, so that way you don't splatter this everywhere. Because that's the sort of annoying thing about cooking sauce, and you can see it sort of like sputtering up here, is that it really does sort of get everywhere if you're not super careful with it. I'm going to turn this down a little bit too, just because we're stirring it up right now. But you see all those bubbles that's popping it up, and you can see how much sauce gets on the lid there. So I'm going to stir it up a little bit, make sure that really just sort of pressing down on the bottom of the pan to make sure that there's no no sauce getting stuck to the bottom of the pan, because that'll happen. Your sauce will cook, but you'll have this sort of like layer of burnt sauce at the bottom. And then if that does happen, don't stir up your sauce the way that we're doing it right now. You don't want, if you do have a burnt layer at the bottom, I want you to transfer the pot into another pot, and then you can scrape all that stuff off like in the sink and use the other new pot to cook. Because you can, even if you burn it, you can still save sauce as long as you don't scratch the layer up into your sauce. If you do scratch that layer up, you're going to get all that burnt flavor into the sauce. It's not going to come out great. So the sauce is definitely ready. It's been cooking for over an hour. It's definitely ready to put our shroomies in. So let's do that. I'm going to make sort of a little bit of a meat sauce here. I'm sorry, a meat sauce, the opposite of a meat sauce. We're going to make sort of a veggie sauce here. And just like in the eggies, there's going to be quite a bit of water in here, which is kind of nice to give your sauce a little bit more liquid. So that way the sauce has a little bit more body to sort of work with as it cooks down. So I do like adding mushrooms to my sauce, not just for the flavor, but it does sort of help with the cooking process. Now, once I get these in, I'm going to scratch a little bit from the sides here, see if I can, because otherwise this stuff's going to get burnt. And then I'm going to turn it back up. You remember I turned it down a little bit just now. So I'm going to turn it back up a little bit now that I've got some more sort of cooler ingredients in here. And notice that the sauce really has thickened up quite a bit because I've kept the lid off. But again, I'm going to continue to keep the lid off just a little bit because we got those mushrooms in there. I'm going to turn up the heat. But not too much. I mean, really, it does. Also depends on what kind of stove you have. But I really don't have it on too much because I want this to cook not all day, but really if you want to make a good pot of sauce, you have to cook it for about 3 hours, if not 4 hours. But sometimes you'll have to keep sort of adding a little bit of oil into it or even a little bit of water into it so that way you don't really cook it down and it's super chunky. So I'm going to have some eggs and maybe a little bit of hummus. Thanks for watching today if you did. If you didn't, check it out whenever. I hope you guys are doing great and that you're able to enjoy a little bit of this really beautiful sunny day during such crazy times. All right, I miss you. Stay good. Be safe.